Lion. Lion. Ade screamed. But the only answer he got was silence. And inside that silence, death was waiting. There was once a man named Ade, a man who used to laugh as if the world belonged to him. Everyone in Omu village knew him as the man with the loud voice, the big smile, and the warm heart. He was short, dark, strong-shouldered, and always smelled of palm wine and roasted yam. Before problems entered his life, Ade walked with a bounce. People liked him because he made them laugh. Children called him Uncle Joke. Young boys imitated his funny steps. Even elders smiled whenever he talked. But one mistake changed everything. One mistake turned his bright days into grey clouds. That mistake was marrying 2 wives. Ade did not plan to marry 2 wives. In fact, when he married Tenny, his first wife, he was sure he would never look at another woman. Tenny was beautiful, hardworking, and gentle like early morning rain. She had eyes that looked like they were always begging you to be kind. She gave birth to 2 children, Hope and Miwa, a boy and a girl. Their home used to be peaceful. But then life happened. Tenny became sick for a long time, so long that people began to whisper that someone had eaten her luck. During that period, Ade met Tiwa, a young widow with soft skin and sharp tongue. She was the opposite of Tenny, bold, strong, and fiery. She laughed loudly, argued loudly, cooked loudly, everything she did was loud. One thing led to another. One mistake followed another. And before Ade knew it, Tiwa became his second wife. From that day, peace packed its load and left the house forever. Ade's compound was big, 4 round huts arranged in a square, with a mango tree standing in the middle like an old soldier. Chickens walked around. Goats tied to wooden poles chewed lazily. Smoke from the outdoor kitchen curled into the afternoon sky. But inside, nothing was calm. Tenny's hut was on the left side. Tiwa's was on the right. Between both huts, battle lived. Any small thing became a fight. If water finished in the clay pot, Tiwa finished the water and left the pot empty. Why will I fetch water for a lazy woman like you? If salt disappeared from the kitchen, Tenny stole the salt I bought. Why will I touch something you paid for? Am I mad? If one child cried, your mother is wicked. Go and tell your useless mother to carry you. Their voices could wake the dead. Sometimes the whole village would hear them shouting. Sometimes villagers would gather near the fence just to listen. It got so bad that elders invited Ade many times. Talk to your wives, they always said. But how do you talk to fire and thunder? At first, Ade tried to solve the problem. He tried separating the kitchen, 1 kitchen for each wife. It failed. He tried giving each woman her own day in the main compound. They found a way to fight inside the days too. He tried sharing money equally. They still complained. He even tried sleeping only in Tenny's hut on even days and Tiwa's hut on odd days. Even that became a new problem. Nothing worked. And slowly, like a tired leaf falling from a tree, Ade broke. He stopped talking. He stopped smiling. He stopped playing with his children. The only places he still found peace were 1. The village square, 2. The palm wine joint. People noticed. Why is Ade looking older? What is happening in his home? This man used to shine. Now he looks like a wet broom. Whenever they asked him, he only smiled painfully and said, "Oh, my brothers, polygamy is not for children." Since his home gave him no joy, Ade created laughter outside. He became the village clown, but not because he wanted to be funny, but because he wanted to forget. He joked about his wives. 2 wives are 2 problems. One will cook food, the other will cook trouble. People laughed. He joked about his life. Marriage sweet oh, but if you enter wrong one, you will be drinking palm wine like water. People laughed. He even joked about himself. If you see a man shouting for no reason, just know he has 2 wives. People laughed until tears fell. And Ade laughed too. But his laughter was not from his heart. It was from a wounded spirit looking for escape. And then came his most famous joke. The one that would later kill him. It started one harmless afternoon. Ade ran into the village square waving his arms. Lion. 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 People jumped up. Women grabbed children. Men picked sticks. Someone even climbed a tree. When they reached the spot, they found nothing. Ade leaned on a tree laughing. It is a joke. A small joke. Why are you people running like chickens? People chased him playfully. They laughed. They forgave him. The next week, he did it again. Lion. Lion. Again, they ran. Again, no lion. People laughed harder. The third time, he hid behind a hut and shouted. Help. Lion will finish me today. People rushed again. No lion. By the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 10th time, everyone already knew the pattern. Children even repeated his joke in school. The village considered it funny, and Ade enjoyed the attention. But the elders shook their heads. One day, this joke will kill him, they warned. It was a cool evening. Wind blew gently. Birds chirped. People were relaxing after a long day of farm work. Tenny and Tiwa were inside the compound fighting as usual. Their quarrel today was about who used too much firewood. Their voices rose like angry drums. Stupid woman. Empty brain. Your children eat like goats. At least they don't behave like frogs like your own. Ade sat outside, tired, sipping palm wine slowly. He didn't even try to enter the compound. He was too exhausted to separate them again. Some children played close by. A few men sat under a tree discussing farming. Everything was normal. Everything felt safe. But deep inside Omiu Forest, danger was quietly moving. A lion. A real lion. Driven out by hunger. Searching for food. Moving silently toward the village. Ade had finished drinking. His head felt light. He decided to walk home. The path to his compound passed through a small bushy corner filled with tall grass. As he walked past, a strange sound came from his left. Rustle, rustle, rustle. He stopped. Listened. Looked around. Nothing. He continued walking. Then he heard it again, this time louder. Rustle, heavy breath, footsteps. He turned slowly. And there it stood. A real lion. Huge. Golden. Hungry. Its eyes locked on him like fire. Ade's heart stopped. His mouth went dry. His legs froze. Then he found his voice. Lion. 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 Help. He screamed at the top of his voice. His shout echoed across the village. But the villagers only shook their heads. Or, Ade has started again. This joke is old now. Let him shout. We are not running today. Even the children laughed. No need to run. It is Ade playing again. Inside his compound, his wives did not stop fighting. Do you hear your husband shouting again? Leave him. That is how he behaves. No one came out. No one followed his voice. No one even looked toward the bush. They had heard that cry too many times. Ade screamed again. Please. Lion. Somebody help me. The lion growled. Ade tried to run, but his legs were shaking. He tripped. He fell. He crawled. But lions don't wait. And that was how Ade met his end, alone, bleeding, scared, with his last breath still calling a name nobody came to answer. It was almost sunset when a small boy named Femi came running into the village square screaming. Lion. Real lion. I saw it near the small bush. This time villagers believed him because Femi never joked. Men rushed to the site with local guns, spears, and cutlasses. When they reached the place, they found blood on the grass. Then they found Adea's slippers. Then his torn cloth. Then his body. The village fell silent. The same silence that refused to answer him earlier. An elder removed his cap. This is the price of a joke that went too far. Another said. He cried lion many times, but the day lion truly came, no one believed him. Women covered their mouths, crying. Even Tiwa and Tenny, who always fought, held each other and wept. They didn't just lose a husband. They lost a man who carried their madness alone. The hunters gathered that same night. 12 strong men. With bows, arrows, spears, and courage. They followed the blood trail into the forest. They found the lion resting near a fallen tree. The battle was long and dangerous. The lion roared, leaped, fought with its last strength. But finally, it fell. The hunters carried the lion back into the village. Villagers gathered around its huge body, shaking their heads. Why did it have to be Ade? Why didn't we answer him? Why didn't we listen? But regret is like rain, it falls after the fire has already burned the house. They buried Ade beside the mango tree in his compound. Tenny cried and fainted 3 times. Tiwa cried and blamed herself. Even the children, who thought their father was invincible, cried until no tears were left. As they lowered his body, the village elder said, "A man who jokes too much will one day become a joke to others. Let this be a lesson to the whole village." For the first time in many years, Tenny and Tiwa cooked together. They washed clothes together. They sat beside each other, crying and talking about their husband. Even the children played together without fighting. Sometimes death does what life failed to do. Sometimes the loss of one man teaches peace to many. People in Omu village still remember Ade. Not as the man who drank too much. Not as the husband of 2 fighting wives. Not even as the comedian who joked too loudly. They remember him as the man who cried for help. And nobody came. They remember him as a warning. If you lie too many times, the day you speak the truth, nobody will believe you. Children grew up hearing his story. Parents used it to teach their children about honesty. And every time someone shouted a false alarm, elders would say, "Remember Ade. Don't let your joke become your death." In life, Ade wanted laughter. In death, he left a lesson. A lesson strong enough to outlive him. A lesson deep enough to quiet a whole village. A lesson that says, your voice is precious. Use it with truth. Because one day, your life may depend on people believing you.